Frak, this podcast, come and listen to us talk about Battlestar Galactica. It's a show that we're talking about. Hello, interwebs, and welcome to the Frak, this podcast. I am your Seussical host, Jesse Gender, and I am joined, as always, by...
Did you say Seussical?
Seussical, as in Dr. Seuss, as an adjective.
That's literally the name of a stage show. You realize that, right?
Yeah, I know. Well, that's why I used it. That's why I used the word.
It's not an adjective, it's a noun.
Well, I'm feeling very Seussical, and I feel like Dr. Seuss would appreciate it being used as an adjective. I feel like if anyone was going to be okay with it, it'd be Dr. Seuss. How are you, Vera?
I'm doing okay. I had a bit of a cramped weekend. Went and saw Spider-Man on Friday with my boyfriend. It's good. I'm not quite as high on it as a fair number of people, but it is good, and it's far from the worst Tom Holland Spider-Man. That's still Far From Home. I really don't like that one.
Yeah, that's probably my least favorite as well. Yeah,
but it's good, and it got better the more I thought about it, which is usually a good sign.
Yeah, I find if movies that like sit with you and they improve in your estimation over time, that's usually means that it was a good movie and had deeper themes, or at least deeper things to think about.
Yeah, I'll spare any of my spoiler-ish thoughts on it. I will say, and I can say this because he was in the trailers, this is probably the closest I will ever come to enjoying this take on Frank Castle.
Hey, there's some of the less cynical Vera.
Having him be borderline comic relief and paired with Spider-Man, sure. Then I can deal with this take on the Punisher. Otherwise, I fucking hate it. But
yeah,
you know,
fair enough. Oh well, good. I'm glad you enjoyed it. Yeah, my weekend was.
I'm not done. Bitch.
Oh, fine.
That was literally not the only thing that I did this weekend.
Give a fuck. Why would I care?
Okay.
No, go. I would love to hear what you did.
We went to the Maine Renaissance Festival on Saturday.
Oh, and what's the Maine Renaissance Festival like? Is it
Hot.
the main one? the top one?
Maine with an E on the end. You pedantic bitch.
I mean, it's still the top one. I mean, it's the most northern, I would presume.
I mean, before you hit Canada, presumably.
Yeah. Well, we don't care about Canada.
I was gonna say it if you didn't. But no, it was nice. It was damn hot. But it was nice. My boyfriend got this little owl figure that like sits on his shoulder. I got myself I think it's upstairs. I should have brought it down. I got myself like a little wrist thing that's a hand dragon.
Oh, nice. Oh, those are cute. I've seen those.
And also, I have votive candles coming in for it, but I have this.
Ooh, that's cool.
Which I'm very excited to make use of.
That's really cool. You can go be a witch in the woods with that and just wander around in the darkness. Yeah, it's great.
Yes, I can. I
for listeners who didn't watch, it's like what do you call those things?
It's a lantern.
Yeah, lantern. Yeah.
I legitimately want to walk the dog after dark and just be carrying this down the street.
It's great. It's perfect. That sounds fun. That sounds like a good time.
It was. Now you can talk.
All right, fine. No, listeners, you'll get to see this at some point later on in the future. But Lindsay Ellis is a friend of mine, and she is doing a video about cruises. I won't spoil the topic of it, but she has to go on cruises, and so she paid for
cruises.
Yes,
what a burden!
So hard for her. But because of this video, she's going on a bunch of cruises, and she's like, well, it's cheaper if I take people along. So I went with her on a free cruise, and I got to be one of her guests. She's taken other people, like Princess Weeks was on one with her and a few others, I think. So yeah, it was a really fun time. But I was telling you before we started recording, so this was like a cheap cruise that she bought because she's trying to that's part of the video, but I don't want to spoil the topic of the video, but it was a cheap cruise. And so we were in a nice room, but we were on the top deck. So like the top floor where above us, there was just the deck of the ship. And it was where they laid out the sun chairs, and they had to stack those up at night. So in the morning, they would lay them all out at 6:30. and they like to drag them across the deck. So Lindsay and I would wake up at 6:30 to like just dragging across the deck. It's like, wow, I'm really feeling super rested on this goddamn ship. So yeah, that was great. But we also we won trivia. We became known as trivia. Also, and hopefully I'm hoping to God she puts this in the video because if she doesn't, I'm gonna be upset. Uh we did karaoke and it was the worst karaoke. She was like, this is the worst karaoke venue I've seen on a cruise ship. Because it was like this big open area and like everyone's so far away from the karaoke stage because it's like a big circle and then there's pillars and then there's everyone else seated. So you're just like this big open circular stage. And so in karaoke,
Yeah.
like you're supposed to get into it, like especially if it's like people you don't know on a cruise ship, like everyone's supposed to get into it and get excited, be like, "Woo, yeah, you're doing great, whatever, girl, yeah, you go," like that sort of vibe. Because everyone's so fucking far away, no one could really even hear, and you're like in the middle of this stage, so you feel a little very self conscious. So, anyways, so that was the stage, and I'm like, "Fuck it, I'm gonna go up." I've seen enough people just kind of go there and sing, and I'm like, I'm gonna fucking own the stage. I'm gonna be like, I'm just gonna go up there and kill it. And I sang because it's funny. I always sing this at karaoke because it's funny for me and it's a fun song. I sang "I'll Make a Man Out of You" from Mulan. It's very funny for a trans woman to sing that. So I went up and said that. It's like, all right, I'm singing this song because I think it's funny for me to sing. And then I fucking owned the stage. Like went back and forth, was like talking to people. They like, let's get down to like just screaming in their face and like be. And then I had like the crowd sing "Be a Man" for me, and I was like getting everyone to clap. And I was just running around the whole thing, and everyone was like cheering for me. And it was really great to the point where I became known on the ship, where I was like people walking around the cruise ship and be like, "Oh, you're the one who killed it at karaoke. Yeah, that was great." So it just became like a thing. So I'm hoping to God she put some of that in the video because it was fun.
See, I will find it very funny if she doesn't put it in the video, strictly so that this becomes one of those, oh yes, and then everybody clapped stories.
Yeah, exactly. It'd be very, very funny. But yeah, it's a
Uh,
good time. So hopefully you'll get to see we'll see how much of me actually ends up in the video proper.
well, we'll
But
see. I mean, speaking of stuff we never thought we'd see,
mm.
you had a video try and
Oh,
drop,
yes.
but then didn't. Now, there was a comment
Yeah.
on the podcast episode of this show that went up today, and it's funny, the episode actually went live late compared
Mm-hmm.
to when it normally does, just
Yeah.
because I crashed last night. But it it went live and somebody commented, um, you know, the timeline on this, if I have it right when Jesse was talking about the Ferengi video in the podcast, it went live on her channel. And then if you heard that and you're excited and you're about to go to her channel, it's probably not there.
Yeah, yep. Yeah, I see it right now in the comments. The mythical Ferengi video just dropped, and now it's gone because yes, it got copyright claimed. So someone
Yeah.
someone commented. So Ursh9210 said the mythical Ferengi video just dropped, and Style 4 Alley says and was immediately copyright claimed, which is appropriately cursed. So
The
yes.
world does not want this from you,
No,
apparently.
it's like go back in your hole, Ferengi video. Go back. It's
Oh.
fine. I'm not as upset about it. Normally I would be upset about it because yes, it got copyright claimed. I have submitted the claims and Paramount used to be good about like responding within a week or so on things, but now since the new regime, they've just let things like they haven't like rejected appeals. They just ignore it, which makes me wonder if they've just fired everyone in that department and everything just auto flags. Like when a video goes live, because it was like right after it went live, so I assume it's like auto flag when it went, like, because it auto flagged when I uploaded it. I disputed all those, and then it went live. So I'm assuming it auto flagged it again or something like that. It was like scraping stuff. So
So yeah, so for is a little bit inside baseball, but for folks who don't realize, when YouTubers upload videos, it goes through an initial round of basically what I tend to call clearing the bots,
mm-hmm.
which is because the way copyright has historically been handled by YouTube in their back end is copyright holders put up whatever it is that they're saying, we own this, and then they put some form of instruction along with it, basically telling YouTube, like, if there's a clip from this that's more than 10 seconds, we claim the monetization. Or some of the asshole ones go, if there's any amount of this, block the video or whatever. But whatever that stuff is, it's already in the system, and your video is scanned and checked against that before it even goes live. So the increasingly common practice of having a video clear the bots, go live, and then get claimed is indicative of something additional happening on the part of these copyright holders. In the case of something like Paramount, given who's in charge of it and the size of the thing, for my money, whoever normally would be manually handling that is probably AI now. And to be clear, folks, AI on the part of Paramount, I actually have no reason to think that for as much AI nonsense as Google is in, I don't think they've integrated AI into their copyright end of things, just because it's been working fine for them the way it is.
Yeah.
And adding AI would probably fuck it up.
And also they've been, and I wouldn't be surprised if they've been using AI, because they've also been copyright claiming older Star Trek videos of mine. I've noticed that there's like one from 6 years ago that they claimed like over the weekend when I was on the cruise ship, so I couldn't deal with it until I got back this morning. And then I noticed a few other Star Trek YouTubers that I follow were also complaining about getting really weird copyright claims from years old videos. So I'm assuming it's probably some AI thing scraping stuff.
In that case, it probably is. In my case, I still hold that I think there's somebody at the BBC who's an actual human being who is manually claiming my stuff. Because when I have Doctor Who stuff get claimed, it's usually 4 or 5 days after it goes live. And they will reject my dispute almost immediately. And then when I have to escalate it to a full appeal, that's the one that they'll let run down the clock.
Yeah, see, I dispute, and like, because sometimes it lets you dispute or appeal. Like, you can appeal immediately and it goes to the more like escalated version, depending on what type of claim it is. And for both of the ones with Paramount nowadays, they've just been running down the clock, for even the 30-day one. So the video will be back up at some point, most likely in 30 days, hopefully sooner. But I'm not, like, this is the one time where I'm not terribly upset about it, because I do have another video this month. I have my obsession video that's going to be coming in like a week or two. So there will be another video this month. If I didn't have another video this month, I would have been pissed, but it's going to be okay. So it'll be fine.
Oh, obsession video, just riding my coattails. I got you. I got you.
I wrote mine first. I just take fucking longer to make mine. So fuck off. I put care and love and attention in my videos, Vera.
No, you're just better at procrastinating than I am.
No, don't. Okay. No, I will take.
She took that personally.
I will take offense on that shit. No.
I work my ass off. I think I crossed a line legitimately with that one. Oh shit! Oh my god! Your face got so serious for like a quick flash there.
I'm like, no, I worked hard. Do you know how tired I am, Vera? Fuck that.
You know how tired I am from the cruise I've been on?
Look,
you don't have the high ground right now. I'm sorry, you don't.
Look, okay, to be fair, I'm stressing the fuck out because I went on that cruise. I'm so behind on work, and I wish I didn't. I wish I had worked. I legitimately wish I had worked the weekend, all right? Like, look, I get it. I was on a cruise. But in reality, I took a weekend there. I didn't do work for the first time in like fucking months, all right? One weekend. Give me this, Vera. Well,
yeah,
maybe we've...
Hopefully when the Ferengi video comes back, my comment will still be there because I was proud of it.
Yeah.
Which, for the record, folks, was, I can't believe we got this before GTA 6.
Well, now maybe not.
Hey, we've got a month. Come on, Rockstar, stealth drop it.
When is it coming out? October?
I don't know.
I think it's coming out in October. I don't give a shit. I'm not going to play it.
I think they bounced it to next year.
No, I think it's still this year. I think
or
it's
was October. It this year? I don't know. They keep pushing it back. I don't care. I was never going to play it.
Yeah, I'm not going to play it either. Yeah, I never cared that much. I mean, I love that series when I was like 12. So
I remember when GTA 3 blew up, and I had some friends in college who got really into it, and I tried playing it, and I'm like, I get that this is kind of impressive, but I also do not get the appeal of this.
yeah, the only GTA game I played front to back was Grand Theft Auto Vice City Stories. No, sorry, Liberty City Stories, which is the PSP game. So I played front to back the
Oh, you're one
PSP
of
game.
those.
Yeah, I played the PSP game. And then I played around 3 in Vice City and San Andreas, but mostly just because I would like jump in, use cheat codes to get a rocket launcher and then just blow shit up for like 20 minutes and have the cops chase me. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
I mean, I like open world games aren't really my best. I like more guidance than that as
Mm,
a general rule.
yeah, me as well. Well, maybe we are too deadlocked in our opinions of things. Sure. And
Why
speaking of which,
not?
we're talking about the episode Deadlock of Battlestar Galactica.
Correction, we're talking about the feedback to the episode of
Yes,
Deadlock. We're
yes, yes.
not, we
Look,
already
I am
talked about the
tired. I was
episode.
up at 6:30. All right.
I
God damn
know,
it,
and I'm
Vera.
having so much fun.
Arsenal said it's so jarring how well they handle complex characters like Baltar, yet can't handle basic plotting, consistent world building, non-gag inducing familial framing, and any notion of proper messaging. You spoke about memories of the show being better than reality, and I remember watching it as it aired and thinking it was kind of meh, but took big swings like the new Caprica arc. I also remember being excited in season 4 because I thought they were going in an actually interesting direction. Not with anything in this episode, is that my own theory of the wider arc was so much better than what was shown. It's not even half as media literate as you two. I'm not half as media literate as you two, but this is one of those shows that I love to hate on since it ended because it was such a train wreck towards the end. At this point, I was still holding out hope that they were going to show something amazing with Starbuck. So we'll see.
You know what I've realized?
Mm-hmm.
So I am, I have a suspicion that the general fan attitude towards this show, or at least to people who don't have 100% rose tinted glasses and just think it was great, is that it started out good and kind of tapered off at the back end.
Mm-hmm.
Here's the thing though. Like there are shows where that's happened. Game of Thrones is a classic example. The structure and the writing and the characterization legitimately it got worse in that show in that last 2 seasons. But here's the thing about this one. Looking back on it, I'm not sure the first 2 seasons were actually all that good once you account for the fact that it's not going to pan out well.
Mm.
I mean, this is kind of an overall hazard of serialized storytelling, but the thing is, I can still watch the first 6 seasons of Game of Thrones and enjoy it, even if I will never touch the last 2 seasons again. But with this, maybe I'm misremembering, but to my memory, while there was maybe a little bit more consistent stuff, or at least less infuriating stuff, in hindsight, I was giving an awful lot of benefit of the doubt, basically on the basis of, oh, well, I'll see where they go with this. Now that
Mm.
I know that where they go with this is either nowhere or shit, I'm not sure I would even vouch for the first 2 seasons.
Yeah. I
Not
mean,
not within the full context of the show.
you know what that means then? We have to go back and rewatch the first 2 seasons after
Fuck you.
this.
Fuck you. Go to hell.
Well, speaking on that, Tor Nielsen 9993 says at this point it's just sheer will on Vera's part. You have an iron will. Uh,
Three more in a movie. Three more in a movie.
the Arcane Master just says I need a compilation of Jesse trolling Vera. uh Nitzart says, I also find kinks fascinating. I think it's because I'm asexual, so they feel so foreign to me, but so interesting. Like a scientist finds octopuses or algae fascinating. So, yeah.
There was another comment about the about my I find kinks fascinating comment. I
Yeah,
want
say
to
it, say it.
find it now. Hold on. Oh, and Sarah apologized for accidentally
You've
getting
spoiled
ahead in
everything,
a previous
Sarah. How
comment.
dare you, Sarah?
Again, having now talked through it, I'm not sure that it was fully textual, but yeah, you did kind of inadvertently prep me for what was coming. Oh, so yes, it was Vera. I find kinks fascinating. This is from Pearl May. Me cackles in etymological dildonics. Everyone look up fascinus in Wikipedia. And for those who haven't,
Oh boy.
Fascinus
Oh
is the
boy.
root word of fascinating, but fascinus is the holy phallus.
So God's dick?
Yes.
Ah.
Fascinate the word fascinating basically means you are pulled towards the energy of God's dick.
I mean, I get it. I'd suck it. It's a holy dick. I mean, I'd do it. It's fine.
Depends on how you spell holy on whether or not I'd be on board with that personally.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah. I mean, maybe it'll make me immortal. I don't know. Who knows? Uh, it also just means I'd know there's a God. So, I don't know. So,
there
yeah.
was one other comment I wanted to read because it kind of exemplifies where I'm at with this show, and it's from the Bitter Fig. And it says, when the season started, I supposed and replied on one of Jesse's community posts that the moment this season that would make Vera crash out hardest, Ellen making Capricorn lose her baby with Ty using the power of he doesn't love you. And now that it comes to that point, it's not as fun as it could be. It isn't another go to therapy moment, which was cathartic. The show is just bad enough that it throws a wet blanket over any reactions.
Yeah.
And yeah, like part of me feels bad that I couldn't have a more entertaining crash out because
Mm-hmm.
in terms of bombastics, the go to therapy crash out was probably the biggest. But in terms of how I actually feel about this, the fact that I got so quiet, I crashed out way harder on that
Mm-hmm.
than on what happened in Deadlock than anything else because I couldn't even be performatively angry. I was legitimately pissed, and when I'm legitimately pissed, I have a tendency to go quiet.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's it's the difference between a deep-seated anger and a rage. A rage like can get me like but this was deep-seated in my soul anger. And yeah, it's not fun.
Well, maybe you were left on an island in a stream of stars in your soul. So, speaking of which, we're talking about islanded in a stream of stars today.
What a fucking awkward word
Yeah,
that is. I
yeah,
understand it's
islanded.
technically correct, but islanded is a fucking awkward word.
Yeah, I think island in a stream of stars would have worked just as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. Some people just want to be pretentious, and that's the Battlestar Galactica writers. Well, we're on the penultimate episode of the show. Also, I should say, next week we are not going to watch the finale. We are watching Blood and Chrome. So you're gonna watch the movie Blood and Chrome, which was written after Ronald D. Moore and David Icke. So maybe it'll be fine. It was written years later. I think it was like 7 or 8 years after Galactica ended. So it's a distinct, different thing.
Okay, so maybe I simply won't care as opposed to being pissed. Whee!
We're almost there,
Um,
Vera. 2 more weeks after this. Just 2 more weeks.
I
Unless you want to break up. Unless you want to break up Daybreak.
I think I need to. I think for my sanity, I can't watch an over 2 hour stretch of back to backing the last two episodes
All
and
right, then
then
we'll break it apart.
probably talking for 3 hours about it. I don't make me do it. Don't make me do it.
Well, then 3 weeks. So there's this, and then 3 more weeks, and then we're done, Vera. You're almost there. You're almost there. The end is in sight.
I think I know what I'm going to have us watch after this.
Yeah.
And again, you get no say.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh. All right,
Look,
well.
I'm doing you the favor of picking something short.
Okay.
So, like, worst case scenario, if you don't like it, it'll be done quickly.
Mhm.
But you have no say. Not after this.
All right, fair enough. Fair enough. We'll see what it is. It'll be fun. Don't tell me until like right before we start.
Oh
I think
no. I'm not telling you for a while.
Yeah. Well, we still have
We got
3
other
more
shit to
series.
get. We have other shit to get through. Maybe even fun late 70s sci-fi cheese nonsense.
Yeah, well, before we get there, we got to drag ourselves over the coals of this thing. So let's do it. Let's get to the end, Miro. We're almost there. All right,
Okay.
let's get into the penultimate episode of Battlestar Galactica, and we'll break up Daybreak into 2. So, that's how it'll work. let's get into our recap. We start off with Hera is playing with the little model ships. She's playing with the little
I
model
just wrote
ships.
the, oh, toy ships.
Yeah. And running through the opera house in dreamscape memory prophecy nonsense happening. We then have a little sequence where the Galactica is being worked on by the human Cylon crews, and we see a Six going over to argue with a human worker, and they basically have an argument about, like, oh, your goop is screwing up my ship. Your ship is screwing up my goop. And and eight comes over, and eight, I should say, comes over to break up the tension. As we see the Galactica breaking even further, like it's a symbol or something of the fracturing tensions.
It's yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's how subtly we write things.
Well, anyways, we then cut to a room where Adama, Lee, and Starbuck are in a room. I believe there might be someone else in the room, but I didn't. Oh, Ellen's in the room as well, and Ty. So they're all, and Tori, I guess, as well. Anyways, they're all talking about what to do next, and they're trying to figure out, like, they have no way of tracking Boomer. And Ellen's talking about Hera's our only last chance, and Tori says, well, she's taking her to Cavill. And I like Lee's response, which Cavill? Where? It's just like, fair enough. Could be one of any of 1,000 base ships. And Ellen just says that if John's plan was to dissect and study Hera, I know, Cavill. I should say Cavill, not John. If Cavill's plan was dissect and study Hera, he was taking her to the colony, which is their home where they took the Centurions after the first war, where we convinced them to abandon evolution for resurrection. And Ellen knows where it is. So she's like, that's her plan. And basically, they're sort of arguing about, you want to go jump Galactica into a silent hornet nest for one solitary child. And Ellen argues, well, she's not just any child. Hera is the only hope for our people of avoiding extinction. And Starbuck says, well, she also may be our only hope as well for humanity, and tells Adama about the music notes and how that connected with the song that the Cylons heard, and the same song that switched them on. And so Adama hears all of this, and he basically goes, in other words, it's our destiny to go after her. And he says, wrong. I've had it up to here with destiny, with God or gods. We're in the ass end of nowhere. Half our people are gone. Earth is a worthless cinder. Can't walk down the halls of my ship without worrying I'll catch a bullet. And Ty says, well, we're alive, Bill. 4 years ago, I wouldn't have taken odds on that. And so Adama agrees to send a recon bird to see what we're up against, but he doesn't want Hilo or Athena to know about
it. So, a Cylon homeworld. 2 episodes from the end of the entire fucking show.
To be fair, they've referenced the Cylon homeworld before.
Yes, but it's only ever been word. It's like, what... for this to carry weight, it needed to have been more than a passing reference, because that's literally all it's ever been. There's never been any reference to, like, there being anything important there. Everything important to them has always been spacefaring, like the hub and the resurrection ship and fucking everything else. And it's just one of those things where it's like, okay, you thought that, like, oh, and then we'll go to Cylon homeworld, like, towards the very end, and that'll be a big deal. It's like, nobody in universe has cared about the Cylon homeworld before now. So it's only a big deal on paper, not in practice.
I guess so. I don't know. I would push back on that, because I distinctly remember the Cylon homeworld and being kind of excited when they said they were going to it in this episode way back in the day. I think that it was evoked enough to be,
because you were
remembered.
You were a child and an idiot.
Okay, fair enough. I don't know. I think it works fine.
No, like, I say that kind of dismissively, but honestly, part of me actually kind of means it. And not necessarily that you were an idiot, but what I mean is you still cared. You were still invested in this show as a whole, and you were the kind of fan who theorized. And so I'm sure you, the whole time, have been like, oh, I wonder if we'll ever go to the Cylon homeworld. I wonder if we'll ever go to the Cylon homeworld. And then we do, and you go, yay! Whereas for me, I stopped caring a long ass fucking time ago, and so I'm left only with the structure of how it's been talked about and whether or not this moment has actually been built up to properly. And my answer to that is no, it hasn't.
Fair enough. Well, I will also say I did like Adama's speech about destiny, being like, fuck
See,
that.
I'm not done, because we're not done talking about the scene. I liked his pushback as well. It's kind of a shame that the show seems to think he's wrong.
Yeah, yeah,
That's annoying. Like, look, I'm not quite as harsh on like the vague concept of destiny as I am very specifically on chosen ones and prophecies, but it is all kind of the same stuff. So I'm generally on board for a character going, I don't care what the universe intended for this. I don't care what the destiny is, except I know that the show considers him to be wrong about this, at least within the context of this story. And then my other note is, oh yes, suddenly Hera, the child who doesn't speak, is everything. We're gonna hinge everything on this fucking two-legged MacGuffin.
yeah. Well,
We
that's what we're gonna do at the end of the show. To be fair, she's been MacGuffin all the way through, so
Yes, but all that
I'm not
means
saying
is
that that's good. I'm just
all
saying.
that means is we've had as much time as she has existed to do something more than make her just a fucking MacGuffin, which they actively opted not to do. Like, even they've barely even dealt with the life of Athena and Hilo as parents. Because, like, to be fair, there's only so much of a character you can make a kid that young. Fair enough. But the lives of Athena and Hilo, even as her parents, basically, it never comes up until it is specifically plot relevant. Like, Athena and Hilo are. She's just a pilot. He's just on the command center until a story says otherwise.
Mhm.
It has not explored them as parents.
Fair enough. I guess I mean, I don't disagree. I have nothing more to add to that, I guess. Well, we do cut over, speaking of them as parents, Athena and Hilo kind of having a crash out about all of this. So Athena's like just kind of not saying anything, but clearly deeply upset. And Hilo says, do you think I don't know what's going on in your head of yours? You hate me, don't you? Say it." And she doesn't say anything to this, but she definitely like stares daggers into him. Um, so.
He's kind of being an ass right
Mm-hmm.
now. Like, dude, I understand. Like, you lost your kid too. I'm not trying to diminish that, but she had to watch you fuck another woman that you couldn't tell wasn't her, and then that woman stole her kid. Maybe don't pull this, oh, why are you so mad at me? Fucking bullshit.
To be fair, I will. Okay, I'm not saying he's not being asked. He is. I'm saying it's realistic in the sense that
I
he hates
agree.
himself. He hates himself is what is really happening here. I don't know if she even necessarily blames him. I think she kind of is debating that. At least that's my read on it. But I think he definitely hates himself, and that's what he's putting upon her. Still makes him a being an ass, but it's a being an ass in a realistic way. Instead of the show is being weird about it. You know what I mean?
I'm not saying that it's unrealistic. I am saying I find it boring and annoying.
Yeah, fair enough. I didn't mind it, especially where it goes with Hilo later on.
No, it still annoyed me with him later on. My later note for when he shows up again is, dude, are you just gonna be kind of a dick for the rest of this show? Is that what we're doing?
I don't know. Okay, I will actually disagree on that later point, but we'll talk about it when we get there.
Look, again, I'm not saying, look, we'll deal with it when we get there. This scene I found more annoying than that one, but like regardless of how justified it is for him as a character, and it arguably is, I just, if this is the only note we're gonna hit with him from now until the end, fuck, I don't care.
Fair enough. Well, we see more prophecy stuff. Athena sees Hera and Rosalind in the opera house at Baltar. So those scenes, Capra 6 is also seeing it. And Rosalind wakes up with Adama, and she's
So I
clearly
just want to note here, following on from the previous episode and the raging amounts of bullshit, um, or I guess from Deadlock,
two
two
episodes ago.
episodes ago from Deadlock. Um, this is basically our confirmation that the visions came back after unborn child Liam died, which means that functionally, as far as the narrative is concerned, it's a good thing he died, because Rosalind has her guiding visions again. Go to hell.
Yeah, I didn't even make that explicit connection, but yeah, that's true. Whee! Anyways, Rosalind's having the dreams again, and we see Galactica, breaking apart while they're talking. And then we have a sequence where the Galactica breaks apart, and the workers that we saw working earlier inside the ship start flying out through a hole in the ship that has been venting air into space. And one of the sixes, the one that was arguing presumably with the worker, sacrifices herself to save the worker's life that she was arguing with, the human worker she was working with earlier.
Yep.
Which I thought was a decent enough scene. Like, hey, Silence saving someone's life. Yay. And then Ty goes to sickbay and sort of sees the aftermath of all of this. And he sees an 8 that is dying, being prepped for surgery. And he asks Kata what's going on. There's 61 people dead or missing. 26 Cylons are dying. Let me jump over to someone talking to Adama. Saying, the Obans called it the proverbial star that broke the camel's back, or whatever it is. They have about 5 or 6 jumps left at most. And Adama's like, I know my own ship. Don't need anyone telling me how much life she has left in me. And then Ty asked Adama's like, they were asking when you're going to transfer your flag to the base ship. And Ty's like, I'm not going to do that. We're staying here. And Rosalind sort of talks to Adama and says, oh, must be feeling like both your women are abandoning you. And Adama's like, nope, neither one of my women are dying. They just need more care and attention. So Adama's very much in denial on both Rosalind's condition and the Galacticus condition.
He is vacationing in Egypt on denial.
Yep. Well, we jump over to I guess it is on the Galactica as they refer to it, the Galactica, but what presumably I think is the new quorum. And they're sort of arguing with Lee about the Galacticas. Like, when is Adama going to abandon the Galactica? And Lee is saying, the spaceship is the soul of the space, and some people... And some of the core members are arguing, like, well, now we're going to have to put our trust in the people who wiped us out. And Lee argues, well, the base star will still have human ships, human Vipers, all of those things. We'll still have all those things, and they're very distrustworthy of this. The 6, I forget her name, but the 6 who was elected to the quorum says, well, when we took the role...
It is funny to me that you forgot her name, because they did very pointlessly give her own fucking name.
Yes.
For no reason when it didn't matter.
Yeah.
And then no one says it in this fucking scene.
I'm gonna call her Quixie. Quixie, Quorum Sixie. Quixie says we accepted Adama's military authority. So that's like when we joined the quorum, we accepted that. And then the core members start arguing about, like, well, we've been complaining about air quality problems on my ship, so we want to get Galactica's CO2 scrubbers. So another person's arguing about the FTL, and one person comes up and says, all right, we'll create a complete inventory of Galactica's equipment. And then Lee says, no one's removing one bolt from the Battlestar until Adama says that we do. And one of the core members says, well, what does Baltar say about that? I do love Lee's response. Baltar? He's like, the fuck does that matter?
Yeah. 2 things kind of happened back to back in terms of my brain. My first thing was, fuck you, Lee. Because, Lee getting on his high horse as people start to call dibs on working parts of a ship that is falling apart and no longer viable is to go, you shut up. My dad says when the ship is done, which, Adama has proven himself at this point to be unreasonably attached to this ship. And while this episode will have a nice little mini arc for him where he comes to terms with what's happening to the ship, given his previous actions, it is completely viable that he will literally run this ship until it falls apart and they lose whatever viable equipment is on it. So Lee getting on his high horse, hey, don't you dare, we're in the right kind of attitude, when people are giving the very rational answers of, can we figure out what to do with the parts of this ship now, because we're going to need to know soon. And also, you kind of mentioned this, but the very first guy to speak up, you mentioned the air quality. He doesn't just say they need the CO2 scrubbers for air quality. He says, we've been putting in our issues with the air scrubbers since day one is his words. So literally the entire length of this narrative since the destruction of freaking Caprica, he has been saying our air quality sucks. Can we get help? And it has never happened. Get off your fucking high horse, Lee. Give the man some breathable fucking air.
Yeah.
And then I had to immediately follow that up with then agreeing with Lee and going, Baltar, what the fuck? Because, like, honestly, the guy asking that question makes no fucking sense.
Yeah, it's just a weird fucking segue.
Yeah,
Like,
it's a
why?
direct say. Like, what I think they're trying to imply is that because Baltar is like getting on the wireless again, that like he's and God,
He's got
the next scene's gonna overbank on this as well with a couple lines. But like they're obviously trying to apply that like because he's on the wireless again and people are listening to him, that this person, thinks that what he says matters. Except that from an actual political process standpoint, it doesn't. He
yeah.
holds no office. What the fuck was that question?
It's a weird segue. Speaking of which, we do jump over to Baltar and he's giving a speech about like I don't believe that God speak to us directly from on high with an appointed mouthpiece, but he does speak to us in our hearts. And if you find yourself straying from the truth, perhaps God will send you an angel to steer you in the direction. Angels, I don't believe they take specter form. I believe they take the form of someone nearest and dearest to you and steer you on the road. I believe in those angels because I see them. And he looks at head 6. So he's saying this all on the radio transmitter.
Don't skip over the least subtle fucking thing I've seen this show do in a while.
Mm-hmm.
Which is that while Baltar is saying, specifically while he is saying, I believe angels take the form of those nearest and dearest to us, we're seeing the camera on Starbuck.
Yes.
Because it's coming over the radio. Her dad was an angel. Do you get it? No, Ron, I didn't get it because I'm a fucking idiot. Again, it's one of those things that honestly, if I wasn't over the show, I might say like, "Oh, that's a little clever, a little on the nose," but like that's fine. But because I fucking hate this show,
Yeah, yeah. Well, there is that, and then Baltar is going to go with his people, and he's like discussing with I forget her name, but the girl last week who was super into the guns, and she said, we need to discuss our meetings.
Paula, who,
Paula.
oh God, they 180'd her character fucking immediately.
Yeah, now she's all grace, unity, life, love. She says
Grace,
like,
unity,
right.
light, love. She's looking at him fawningly, like everybody. Like they made her semi-interesting for one episode.
Yes. Well, now she's talking to Baltar about like, oh, the whole fleet wants us to move our headquarters off Galactica. They're requesting us at different ships. They want us to sort of head the food distribution centers. So they all believe that in what we're doing. And so Head 6 comes over to talk to Baltar, and he's like, oh, it's all coming together. You have more power than when you were president. You may even eclipse Adama.
Which is the line that I was referring to when I said this scene oversteps this point as well.
Yes.
Like the guy asking is if Baltar holds actual power already overstepped, and then that line does it again.
Yes. She says, you'll be rewarded. Why don't you let yourself enjoy it? And then he sees Caprica 6 walking away. And he says, Head 6 says, she's not the one. And Baltar says, she's the only one. And he goes after Caprica 6. And he basically tries to ingratiate himself with her. He says, hey, I heard about your loss. I'm offering condolences. And she says, I'm fine. And he's like, if you need a place to stay. And Caprica 6 like, I have no desire to join your harem. He's like, that's not what I wanted. I was just trying to make a difference. And she says, I dreamt of you last night and it was an old dream. We both had our parts to play. I miss that, but I guess all dreams die hard. And Baltar says he's trying to connect with her earnestly. He's like, we could share dreams. And he's like, that wasn't what I was trying to do when I was talking about having you stay with me. And Caprica 6 says, the problem is I have moved on. And she walks away. Which good for her.
Good for her, and I won't lie, it's nice to see Baltar cry.
Yeah. Cry. But then we have another scene that I did like, where we have Ty is in sickbay with Coddle, and he's sort of walking in there, and Coddle sort of asks, hey, she's dying, referring to the 8 that he saw earlier. Maybe we take a few minutes out of your schedule and be with her. She was asking for you. And Coddle, Ty's like, no, I'm not here for that. He's like, take the time. Do it. She's dying. And So he goes over to the 8 and she says, Saul, is that what I should call you? And she says, thank you for the privilege of letting me meet my father before I die. And he said, you shouldn't be thanking me. I spent most of my time trying to kill your kind. And then she says, so much confusion, which is, of course, a reference to too much confusion here. And then
Yeah.
she passes away. So it's a scene that I liked because it's sort of pushing Ty to sort of reckon with, he's complicit and part of all of this, and he's a father in all of this. It's sort of recontextualizing his self and who he is in all of this. It's kind of interesting.
It's fine.
I liked it. So
I don't dislike it. That's as good as you're going to get from me at this point.
fair enough, fair enough. I mean, what I will say is I do like it because it is sort of challenging his view that he's sort of. I mean, we got back at the beginning or end of last season, I should say, where he doubled down on his narrative, like this is who I'm going to be. I'm going to be the XO of this ship. And so there's this challenge to him now here of like, you were the one that like created the Cylons in many regards, or at least these versions of them. And so you are their father. And so it's sort of attacking that sense of identity that he has solidified about himself. And he doesn't really want to face it, which I kind of find interesting.
Yeah, sure.
Fair enough. Well, we then cut to Boomer and Hera. So Boomer's flying with Hera, and Hera is whining about wanting to see mommy. I miss my mommy. I miss my mommy. This pisses off Boomer. She finds it annoying. She said, I'm not going to listen to you sniveling for another half dozen jumps. And so maybe you won't cry in your sleep. And so she's going to inject Hera with drugs to make her sleep, but she can't do it when she sees how scared Hera is.
Two things about this. Personal thing, not this show's fault. I'm super not comfortable with child endangerment. Like I'm just not. Crying kids, it has been a minor trigger for me even before I was a parent. It made me super uncomfortable. So I dislike the experience of watching that scene for that reason alone. But that's not a substantive narrative complaint. What is a substantive narrative complaint is them teeing up what it looks like they're going to be doing with Boomer. Remember how I said she became more interesting when I realized how ruthless she was? Yeah. Guess what's gonna get walked back?
Yay! Yeah. You can't have nice things. I get it.
No, I clearly can't. And like look, I'll just say this now because it'll be clearer later. But like, it's getting walked back because, oh, it hit me right in the womb. Oh, mommy feels. Fuck. Oh.
Yeah.
Do you know how much more interesting she would be if they had stuck to if they just stuck to how fucking ruthless she is? How much more of a contrast that would be that there's somebody who looks literally like her, remembers like most of their lives line up, but she is so 180 and it's like I have no connection to this fucking kid and I don't care.
Mm-hmm.
Am I the only one who would find that more interesting than oh my heart? Oh.
Yeah, no. Well, you can see relatively more Star Trekkiness in there, but in all the worst ways, I should say.
Yeah. Oh, I'm gonna interrupt because I want to tell you something that I thought of today that I was kind of proud of. So in my mind, you know those sort of like quadrant graphs where something is broken up into four quadrants and you do like scatter plots on it. So in my brain, I came up with a four quadrant system, and one axis is how weird or unusual the core concepts of a show is, and one axis is how weird are the writers. So, with all respect to both of these, because I'm not saying this is innately a bad thing, but in the square that has pretty normal sci-fi ideas handled by pretty normal people, that's where most of Star Trek and like Babylon 5 hang out. It can still be executed at a high level, but these are not bonkers ideas. Then you can have kind of normie sci-fi ideas written by really weird people. And that's where you have Farscape, where a lot of the concepts and ideas like, oh yeah, a lot of shows do that. Not like this, they fucking don't. Then you have weird ideas done by fucking crazy people, and that's where you find shit like Legion.
Mm-hmm.
And then, in my opinion, the least interesting square on the board is weird ideas handled by normies. And
Yes.
that's where Battlestar Galactica is.
Yeah, I would agree perfectly with that. That's a very good breakdown. Yeah. And I just took this show and was like, ooh, I like these weird ideas. Let me make them weirder.
It does, like, it does have some weird ideas done in the most boring, straightforward way that you could do them.
Yes. Yeah. Well, we then jump. Speaking of weird ideas, Tyrell's hanging out in his mind palace, and turns out he is in the brig, and Athena has come to see him.
You know what was funny to me? It took me like half of the episode runtime to remember why the fuck he would be in the brig.
I mean, he killed and ate.
I did eventually remember that, but so little attention was drawn to that it had completely left my head.
Yeah,
It
fair enough.
like, and I did eventually remember, and I'm glad because I really would have felt bad if I'd had to ask you, wait, why is he in the brig? But it did take me a while to remember.
Fair enough. Well, anyways, Athena comes to see him and she says, oh, she showed you the house. You know, I have all of our memories from before the war. It was to help me fool Hilo. Now it's ironic that she did the same, which I thought was an interesting connection to be made.
Yeah.
And she says that house, it meant a lot to her. It must have cost her a lot to betray you. And I'm glad, like you said, you turned yourself in as soon as you heard what happened. But I also know that I will never forgive you. So, and this is what, and I'm like, fair.
Which incredibly fair.
Yeah.
Look, if someone's actions directly contributed to me losing my kid, yeah, I would never forgive them either.
Mm-hmm. So I thought that was a decent and good scene. And again, I like the connection between her and Boomer there and the memory stuff. So Ty is in his quarters looking for a bottle around his quarters, and Ellen's there as well. And he's like, I can't find it. And Ellen's like, I guess I have 6 to thank for that. But yes, he's clearly crashing out hard, and talking about and Ellen's talking about like our people's future is at stake, and you only sent out a recon mission. And Ty's like, well, look, you want to know who my people are? It's not the Cylons. It's the people on the ship, the one I fought with and bled with. It's the only family I've known. And Ellen says, old man, old compared to whom? Talking about Adama. You were my husband 2,000 years ago before you even met Adama. And Ty's like, well, 2,000 years is just a number to me. But that man's friendship, I'm definitely not gay for him. But man, he's mean a lot to me, is the vibe. And
I used to dream of that man's mustache
all the time,
brushing against my upper lip.
Yeah.
And he shaved it off, the bastard.
No homo though. No homo. I just want to cuddle him and be near him and tell him how much I love him, but no homo. Is again the vibe. Anyways, Ellen points out you're a Cylon whether you remember that life or not. You understand what we are trying to do, and we were trying to end the cycle of war between man and machine. And he says we failed, and Ellen says yes, we have a second chance now. Hera, without her, our children will die off. Ty said I had a child, he died, and Ellen says you're wrong. You had millions.
If you don't remember, that's fine. Is there going to be any acknowledgement between Ty and Caprica 6 in the remainder of this show?
I legitimately don't remember, and I don't think there is.
Because it sure as fuck feels like, and this interaction he has with Ellen sure feels like, because she has served her purpose of having a fucking miscarriage, that we are simply meant to roll with, oh, he's just back with Ellen now. Because of course he is. Because why would he continue to care about the woman that he was showing direct affection for, that canonically within the show it is said he must have loved her. Oh, but she couldn't carry his kids, so now he doesn't, I guess. How is it 2 episodes on? This show is still finding ways to be fucking gross about that plot line.
Yeah.
2 episodes after it should be done and dusted, it's still fucking disgusting me.
Yep. I don't disagree. I mean, again, I'm not going to disagree on that point. It is disgusting. I do like the other parts of this scene where he's just sort of like 2,000 years is just a number to me.
Like most of the good scenes in the latter half of this last season, it's totally fine in isolation, devoid of the context that surrounds it. As a scene, it is a good scene.
Well, again, I would argue that like I think it's like a good scene even just outside of that last little bit at the end. Like I do like this stuff about 2000 years is but a number to me, and I care, I identify with the family on this ship, not that family. And again, it's sort of this challenge to his identity. So like all of I know you're kind of out of the show and don't give a fuck. I'm just trying to
Kinda. Where
I'm
have
well
you
aware.
been?
I'm well aware. I'm just trying to point out, like, okay, I do at least like this element of it because I do like this idea of challenging his identity. Look, I'm trying to find some good stuff because I do think that that's a good arc here for Ty in this episode.
I liked the line 2000 years is just a number to me because as far as his lived experience is concerned, that is academic information that has no bearing on how he has actually lived his life. So I like that line. I'll give you that.
Yes, there we are. I'm trying to find it so it's not just me describing the plot and then you complaining about it for the next hour. I'm trying my best.
Good luck. I'm not going to help you.
Yeah, yeah.
I am going to be the problem. For the
Uh,
remainder of this fucking show, I am going to be the problem that you have to deal with. And you have to figure out how to make this not an insufferable slog. It's on you now
I'm too
because I
tired
don't
this
fucking
today.
care.
I got shit to do tonight after this. I'm tired, so I'm trying my best, Vera.
Oh, I was on a cruise.
I had to wake up
Well.
at 6:30 every day. And you
I
know how much of work I'm
legitimately,
doing today. You know what I'm doing tomorrow. I'm not going to say it on the podcast. You know what I'm doing tomorrow. I'm tired, Vera.
legitimately, the fact that you were on a cruise this weekend, you handed me a fucking gift when you told me that. Thank you. I'm enjoying it.
I'm so tired. Anyways, Boomer tries to feed Hera, and Hera's not having it, and so Boomer takes her inside her mind palace. She's like, go to this special place, and then she learns that Hera can also project. So Hera also has special Cylon powers as well.
Whee!
Yes. We then cut to Baltar shaving, and it turns out Starbuck is there peeing with the door open, and which I'm down for. I recognize myself in that sometimes. Look, I'm just saying, I'm with my wife. I love her very much. We pee with the doors open. It happens. It's how it
I
goes. We're at
it's
that
just
part of
the
the
choice of
relationship.
words. It would have been one thing to say I relate. Something about saying I'm down for implies more than just I relate to this
I
experience.
want to
And I'm
stare
not
at
trying
someone while they pee on the toilet. Yes,
I
that's
am not
definitely my
trying to
kink.
kink shame. I may be kink giggling a little bit, but I will leave it at that.
That's not my kink. I do have kinks. That one's not mine. Anyways. Let's see. Starbucks there. Anyways, she's sort of confronting Baltar during this. He says, "You really believe that builds from the wireless? Angels walking among us?" And he says, "Yeah, I do see those angels with alarming regularity." Oh, you're full of crap, she says, and he goes, "You're entitled to your opinion." And he asks, "Who are you, by the way?" And she says, "I'm full of crap. I'm dead. I crash landed, was burnt to a crisp dead." Took these dog tags off my body, and she gives him the dog tags. Run some tests on him because I have no idea what I am, but I'm not an angel. So Baltar is given the dog tags from her body back at the beginning of the season.
Which I'm sure will be a thing.
Mm-hmm. We'll see. Starbuck then goes into the room where Anders is now set up in a sort of hybrid tank. And some Cylons were basically saying, well, we set him up to the power grid. And Starbuck's like, oh, you're trying to jumpstart him like a car. And she demands to have a moment alone with her husband.
Can I just say that, like, yes, I understand it is directly evocative of the hybrid tanks and others, but like because of the scrolling like
Matrix
data
letters or
points
whatever.
by, he just looks like he's plugged into the Matrix.
Yeah, he does kind of. I wouldn't be shocked if that wasn't their like visual touch point, to be honest.
Yeah, like the
Just
main
red,
difference is
red matrix instead of green.
yeah, the main difference is the data scrolling by isn't green, it's red.
Yeah.
Other than that, I'm sorry. If you showed me this and recolored it green, I would straight up assume this was a shot from the Matrix that I forgot about.
I mean, I'm here for it though. I like it. Anyways, I mean, I'm not going to complain about cyberpunk stuff and goo and like human hybrid technology shit. That's my jam.
And I won't complain about evoking a better
You
series.
want to talk about my kink? Goo and cyberpunk hooking up to machines. That's my kink, Vera. I'm not even kidding about that. It probably is
I
if I
know
thought of
you're not.
this.
I'm
And I'm like,
I'm well aware.
and again, I am saying this show probably was the thing that awoke that in me. So I blame this show. I don't know if it was this scene, but definitely this scene was in there. So shut up.
I
Anyways,
I know what you dream about, being immersed in goo and plugged into machines. I know. I'm aware.
not wrong. It's not wrong. I'm seen. Anyways, uh anyways, she's talking about she talks to the currently not there Sam. He's basically very brain dead. And she's like, I remember when I told you that I found out you were a Cylon. I said I put a bullet in your head, and now that some fracker beat me to it, now all I want is just you back because you're Sam. You were my Sam. You're always my Sam. I and that's how I'm gonna remember you. And she pulls a gun on him to shoot him in the head. But then he wakes up, and it also wakes up the Galactica. So all the lights come back on because it's been sort of shuddering on and off. And he starts talking like the hybrid. And one of the things he says to her is he turns to Starbuck, says, "You are the harbinger of death, Kareth Thrace," which she's heard before.
Yep.
So I'm gonna give praise here. Basically, all the stuff between Sam and Starbuck in this episode, I really like. I actually think it's really good, and they're probably the best toxic, non-toxic relationship in this show. And I really do appreciate that she comes back around to being accepting of Sam who he is, regardless of the fact that he's a Cylon, and realizing that she was wrong when she said that, and acknowledging her like love for him, as toxic as it's been throughout the show.
I mean, look, at this point, I have to basically give it up to them as being the only relationship that on the show that I can say I liked pretty much without caveat, because the only other ones that were in the running were Adama and Roslyn, but I hated how that started. It settled into it later, and like it's been fine. The other one was Ellen and Ty, but unfortunately, the shit with Caprica is irretrievably mixed up in that at this point. So I can't say that with a good conscience. So by default, if nothing else, this is the one good relationship left on this fucking show.
Yeah. Yeah. So there we go. They win. Huzzah. Don't screw it up in the next 3 hours.
Yeah.
We'll see.
I mean, everyone else was disqualified, but sure, you win.
Hey, a default win is still a win.
Well, I don't know. Like you said, we've got 3 episodes left. There's still time to go completely off the track and DNF. So
Yeah, we'll see. Well, Sam comes back as a hybrid, and so Ty is now in the room, sort of like learning about this. He's like, "Oh, so he was the power fluctuations all along. How did he get access to the ship? I thought we firewalled this." And they basically explain that the Cylon goop that they've been putting in the ship has allowed him to sort of bypass those firewalls. So again, the hybrid nature of the ship matches the hybrid nature of Sam. Which again, idea I like. That's again, it goes perfectly to the thing. Weird ideas by normal people, because this is the kind of shit that I love, and it's done kind of okay here. So
yeah, it is an interesting idea that in this show simply exists.
Yes,
it is not an idea explored. It is not an idea expanded upon. It's an idea that exists.
I mean, you've read one of my scripts. There's a lot of technology.
I've read several of your scripts.
Yes, and I just like weird technology being shoved into people's bodies. It's fun.
Yep.
Yeah.
I am familiar.
Oh, when people watch,
you are blushing.
I know. When people watch the feature film that I'm hopefully gonna get to make, which actually I need to tell you something about afterwards. I need to tell you good news. But yeah, hopefully I get to make that. People who listen to this podcast will go, "Oh, I see all of Jesse's kinks just in this." I'll be fine with that. I'll be one of those directors who just I have kinks. I'm gonna make it everyone else's problems. There's definitely those directors, many of which I like. David Cronenberg, we're here for it. It's fine. Yeah,
and look, if nothing else, we need an alternative to Quentin Tarantino and his fucking feet thing.
Yeah, he's another person who has his kinks and makes it everyone else's problem, but it's in a weird way. And I mean, your kinks can be weird. When I say weird for him, I mean he sexualizes women in a fucking awful way. So yeah.
Yeah.
Anyways, Sam is back as the
Be
hybrid.
Cronenberg, don't be Tarantino.
Exactly. Cronenberg is the right kind of guy who makes his kinks all of our problems. I want his problems, his kinks to be my problems. Anyways.
How much of that is just shared kinks, though?
Yeah, it's true. I too want a chest vagina that like I can shove a gun into. Videodrome for people who don't know what I'm talking about. Actually, that one is not really my kink. I love that movie. That one's not my kink.
I was gonna say I suspect Existence is more your kink.
Yeah, Existence is more my kink. Not The Fly. Yeah, Existence is more my kink. Crimes of the Future. That one's also more my kink. So that sort of stuff. I mean, he's definitely not touching on them. He dances around the kink. Anyways, we've talked enough about my kinks enough this episode. Let's move on. Ty says to take Anders offline, and they take him offline, and the Galactica goes back to normal. So all the lights are back on and such.
Well, you kind of missed the main reason he said take him offline, because we kind of got sidetracked talking about your kinks. Because it's not just that he is kind of connected to the power grid. Ty asked very specifically, we've had Cylon additions made to the jump to our FTL system. Can he access that? There's this very pregnant pause, and it's like, yeah, maybe. He's like, okay, unplug him then.
Yeah.
Because we've already dealt with a hybrid just going jump and something ends up in the wrong place. We don't need that shit again.
Yes. Anyways, we cut to Adama reading to Roslyn, and he's reading a book to him. And she points out, oh, you're looking spiffy. And he says, I'm going to the funeral for the crew that we lost soon. She takes out medical weed.
No. Okay. You keep skipping over the good bits.
Yeah.
Like the few good bits in this fucking show. She doesn't just because he's reading this thing to her. And she says, open page 61. And he goes to that page and there's a joint between the pages.
Yes.
That's adorable.
Yeah, that's very cute.
I like that.
Yeah, it's cute. She starts smoking medical weed, and they start smoking some weed together. And she starts talking about the cabin from that day on New Caprica. It's like, remember that day in New Caprica when we were talking about that, like mountains and a stream, and she's talking about a cabin. And she says, it's amazing how much I think about it. I wonder what home is. Is it an actual place, or is it an absence we carry inside of us, longing for connection? Spent my whole life on Caprica, one house to another, moving to one house to another. Then it was a dorm room in college, then apartments, mostly alone. I was always looking for something bigger, perfect couch. And then it was this. And then now I don't feel I've ever felt at home until these last few months here with you. I know you love the ship. I love her more than you love me. And Adama says, no. She says, yes. And she says, you'll miss her the way you miss me. And he says, no, I won't have to. Adama is still in denial. And she says, Bill, if you don't get us off the ship, you may lose both of us at the same time, meaning the Galactica will probably blow up with her on it. And she says, won't you give us a chance? And then they go back to the book. She's like, what was back to our Intrepid? What was he? Oh, a detective. I love how she's like barely paying attention to the book. She just likes the time with him, which is kind of also cute.
Yes. It's a cute scene.
I really like the scene. I will say I liked that idea of a home is an absence we carry inside of us longing for connection. Because usually someone would place it as like, oh, home is the thing inside of us that we have. Like home is where the heart is. But she kind of inverts it in a kind of an interesting way of just a desire for looking for connection. I actually thought that was an interesting little subversion of a well-worn trope. So yeah, or a cliche. I guess it's not really a trope. So, anyways, then you get to the scene that we were talking about earlier, where Starbuck is kind of getting drunk with Hilo, and she's venting at him. What's a harbinger? What's that mean, anyways? And he's like, oh, it's an omen of portent. So it's like, am I supposed to bring death and destruction to everyone? Ooh, that's my so-called destiny. I thought that was all covered by the Earth thing. The Earth was me being the harbinger of death. And then Hilo says, well, you could also be a herald, like an angel.
Wow,
right.
Fucking subtle. This Jesus.
Yeah, she's like, death's
okay. Can I just say this now, just in case? If this show decides in its finale that a character has been a literal angel, or that an angel fucking shows up to explain the last, your smile makes me
I'm
so
not saying
fucking
anything.
nervous.
I'm not saying anything.
I'm gonna be so pissed. I'm gonna be so fucking pissed if they pull that shit because they've gotten really heavy-handed pretty much out of nowhere in the last couple of episodes with this angel shit. And if that so fucking help me, if this show tries to be about faith in its last episode when the show has never handled faith well as a topic. And while it has been a constant element, it's never been the fucking point. If they try to say this whole show has been about faith, I'm going to lose my shit.
We'll see. We'll see. Listeners beware. Anyways,
Oh
I'm
my
not saying
fucking
anything.
God.
I'm not saying anything. I didn't say shit. Anyways, Hilo kind of like, enough. Shut the frack up. I'm sorry that Sam's in a coma, but listen to yourself, guzzling booze and bitching and moaning. None of it matters. You're here. My daughter isn't. The only good thing in this miserable mess, and I can't do anything about it. I don't feel like sharing your pain, Captain. And so he gets up and leaves, and then after a beat, she starts. Starbucks yells at the people on the piano to get off the piano and takes another shot.
Now, look, for clarity with what I said before, I don't actually have a problem with Hilo in this scene. And by and large, I sympathize and empathize with him, and I like it within the context of this scene. It was just that in the context of this and the way he was talking to Athena, I was just like, oh, is just being a dick even justifiably just gonna be what he is for the last stretch of the show? That was just the thought that I had that I was like, oh, okay.
Because
Even though strictly within the context of the scene, it works.
Yeah, I like it a lot because, Starbuck is getting on our woe is me train, which she's been on before. Of like, oh yeah, everything sucks and everything's terrible and getting drunk. And Hilo's like calling her out for the fact that like you're not giving a shit about me. You're here as go, oh, woe is me, and like my daughter's fucking missing. So I'm sorry about you. And I did really like him calling her out for that because yeah, Starbuck has this thing of like going woe is me and not giving a shit what everyone else is going through. So
Oh
I
yeah,
liked
for
it as a good
sure.
call out. So yeah.
Again, another scene that is good in isolation.
Mm-hmm. We have Baltar studying the dog tags for a quick little montagey moment here. Then we have Adama talking to a six, I believe. And they're talking about like Cavill. They found out basically that Cavill moved the colony before the Civil War. They have no idea where he moved it to. So essentially, the recon thing was a bust. We then cut to Boomer and Hera again. And Boomer basically takes Hera up to the room where she thought her daughter was going to be that she showed Tyrell last episode and looks at Hera in the room and feels all mommy.
In the mind cabin.
Yeah, feeling it in the womb, as you said. She's feeling feelings right in the womb.
She's got that womb warmth.
Yeah,
it's spreading, it's heating up. God fucking damn it.
Yeah.
Just look. Characters in general going, oh, there's a kid, and that makes me question my worldview is already a cliche.
Mm-hmm.
But it is a far more boring cliche when it is done with a woman. And it becomes egregious in my mind when it is done with a woman who, until very recently, was shown to be viciously ruthless.
Yeah.
But now all of a sudden, oh, baby, oh, my womb.
Yeah, I don't disagree.
I hate the sexual politics of this fucking show so much.
Yep. Well, Adama is walking to the funeral, and Hilo confronts him, and he's basically begging. Adama's like, hey, let me take a raptor to look for my daughter, and Adama reveals that they sent on a recon mission. There was nothing there, and he still begs, like, let me take out that raptor, and Adama says, she's gone. I lost a son, you lost a daughter, but I can't condone a suicide mission. He's basically saying, I get it, but I can't condone it, and he says, let it go, and he was like, you're the one that can't let go, and he starts yelling, and like, this ship is dead. And Adama sort of confronts him, like, I understand your pain, but don't lecture me. You're here to take orders. So he doesn't like to be confronted about his own denial. And Hilo says, I'm sorry. And he begs one last time. Maybe it's a suicide mission, but let me do it. But Adama doesn't do anything. He just sort of taps him on the shoulder and walks away. So.
Yep.
Adama getting confronted on his own denial. Then we get a funeral sequence where we have like Ellen and Adama and Baltar all giving speeches at the funeral for the dead, Cylons and humans alike. But
Why
then
the fuck is anyone letting Baltar give a speech?
I guess because he's a religious leader, so I guess that kind of.
I guess. Why the fuck not at this point, I guess.
Presumably, I would assume that someone that died followed him. That would probably be the reasoning. Um, so you got
I
like
guess.
it'd be like Cylon priest, which is Ellen, human priest, which would be Adama in some regards, like so human element, and then Baltar being the like one true god priest of humans. I guess would be the way I'd break it down. But
I
regardless,
mean, like, I guess that's the theory. I could argue on it and just be like, his harem's just in his is just in that one fucking room.
well, presumably he's gotten other people who follow him now, as we learned
I
earlier.
mean, other people who listen to him, maybe. I guess maybe in my brain, I draw a line between the people who are just listening to his broadcasts and the actual followers who are
I
in
mean,
his
his
little
broadcasts are very
enclave.
religious coded, so I presume they're probably
I
fake
guess.
fist, and he's been doing it for months, as we've been seeing. So,
Which,
anyways,
like, I'm still hung up on the fact that especially back when she cared about the presidency, that Rosalind never fucking stopped him. Because we know, because of shit that happened elsewhere, they have the power to jam these signals and just stop him broadcasting. And they never fucking did. And I still don't understand why not.
yeah. Well, anyways, after his speech, he basically goes, "Death is not the end. We can get the gift of eternal life offered to each and every one of us, even the most flawed. All we need is a courage to face death when it comes calling to us." And basically, he calls out Starbuck, saying, "She walks among us," and he says, "I found necrotic flesh on the dog tags. The DNA is from Kara Thrace. Angels walk amongst you. She took this from her own mortal remains. She's not a silent. She will not deny it." And she slaps him.
Good.
Yeah. Yep.
Can you
So.
slap the writers while you're at it, Starbuck? It would help me a lot.
Yes. Well, we get a little montage of Starbuck and Adama looking at his like admiral stars as he listens to Galactica creak and moans, and then he
Oh,
does.
like he takes them off, and my note at this point is like, "Wow, have I been numbed to the symbolic removal of pins?"
Yeah,
Because like we've done it with Adama, we've done it with Lee like three fucking times. I'm like, yeah, I get it. We've done this dance before.
yeah. Well, he goes and has one of his now signature Adama breakdown moments where he like shoves things in a paint on a wall and like crashes out on the floor like upset.
Yep,
So he's done that a few times at this point now.
yep. Another moment that could have been powerful if it wasn't a beat that they've done repeatedly.
Yep. Well, Lee goes to see Starbuck in a scene that comes close to like has one beat that infuriates me, but it doesn't. It's not as bad as it could have been. And Lee basically says to Starbucks like, "I don't care what Baltar's talking about. I don't care what you think you saw. I watched your Viper explode. I don't care. I'm here because I'm Lee and you're Starbuck, and the rest isn't worth a damn. I can't help." And Starbuck sort of looks at him and says, "You're right. I can't help what people say, and I can't control who believes it. It's okay." And then Lee says that this is all that matters. Touches her cheek. Ugh. Reminding us of their whole back and forth thing. And he says, "I'll see you around, Kara Thrace." And then Starbuck looks at the wall and they see D and Racetrack, and she puts up a picture of herself next to Racetrack on the memorial wall. So the Lee stuff aside,
I am stunned they didn't have these two kiss.
yeah,
Like, that's not to excuse the
the
little
cheek
cheek
touch.
caress moment, but I am stunned this show
They
did not
had
have them.
some level of restraint.
Too little, too late, but like that's why I'm stunned because this is uncharacteristic of this fucking show.
Yeah. You know what it reminds me of? I'm gonna listeners skip ahead like 5 minutes, not even 5 minutes, like 2 minutes if you care about House of the Dragon spoilers. But it was just one of those things that I had today and it just made me think about this. Where they've been building up on the you don't care about House of the Dragon spoilers, do
I
you?
do not.
So they've been building up this Oedipal complex thing this whole season between one of the Targaryens and his mom. And it's just like, okay, it's been very clear that that's what they're doing. It's not like subtle in any way, but at least
It's
it's like,
it's it's the incest house. Of course they're
yes,
fucking
but
doing
at
this.
least it was like subtext. So it was like some tension in scenes where it was very clear what was going on. It's like, okay, Oedipal complex is like the bargain basement of psychosexual shit. Like I've been on AO3. I've seen weirder. So I know you can get weirder than this, but like, if you're gonna do the bargain basement psychosexual nonsense, like Oedipal complex is the one that's there. And I But at least do a subtext and there's some tension in that. They can bring some interesting subtext out of scenes through it. But then this episode, the recent episode, just starts off with like a vision of him, and the episode like trying to fake you out that it's not a vision and thinks it's an actual thing of him, his mother actually instigating sex with him, and like it starts that for a minute, and it just becomes this like spectacle version of that. And I'm like, look, I'm not a prude. I don't really give a shit that he's having sex with his mom. That doesn't bother me. I just think it makes all of the other scenes that you have after this one, where you're still trying to wring some like tension out of the subtext out of it, less interesting because you showed me the thing. You showed me the thing that's so like taboo.
Yeah.
So like, why do I give a fuck about all the subtext of like not seeing it now? You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
You can't keep trying to go, ooh, but what if we did the thing when you just had a fake out where you just did the
Did the
thing?
thing, yes. And this reminds me of this show where it's just like, oh, they showed restraint and subtext in the scene. Would have been great if they hadn't just given me the fucking bullshit beforehand. So
Yeah. Again, too little, too late.
yeah, yeah. Uh, anyways,
It's almost insulting that this show has the audacity to have restraint at this point in its fucking run.
we'll pull back right at the end. Uh,
Ugh.
anyways, it's like if they did it in reverse, they went maximalist at first, then restrained at the end, and it should have been the other way around. Like should have been the moment where they first kissed, or something like that. You know what I mean? I don't
Yeah.
know if that would have worked out better, but it would have been better payoff, I guess.
Yeah.
So.
No, instead, like, oh, see, he cares about. Yeah, we know they have banged repeatedly. This has
Yeah.
been an ongoing fucking thing. Like, what?
Anyways,
She literally married somebody else because she was afraid of how much she liked him. Like, what? Oh, fuck.
that being said, so all the Lee stuff I don't give a shit about. I will say I do like this kind of arc for Starbuck in this episode of like she usually crashes out and like drinks and throws it off on everyone else and makes their problem everyone else's problem. And here she's finally like accepted her situation, being like, okay, no, this is what's happening. I can't control it. I can't control it believes it. I can't control what people say, and I'm just gonna accept that. And she puts up the picture next and like accepts that she's dead in some way, shape, or form, whatever that means. So I like Lee stuff aside, don't give a shit. The mini arc for Starbuck here in this episode of like trying to break her routine, her habit of crashing out, I thought was nice. I thought it was well done.
Yeah, it's fine.
Yeah, so we then cut to Ty and Adama, and they have their speaking of subtext and psychosexual drama. Ty and Adama are talking to each other, and Ty's like, "You wanted to see me," and Adama said, "I made some decisions." And he's like, "Oh, okay, you can tell, yeah, those toaster crews to go back." And I'm like, "Oh, Ty's using a slur against his own people, very self-hating Cylon sort of thing here," which is it fits. Anyways. Adama says, I'm stopping all repairs, packing the crews. We're going to offload civilians tomorrow, and we're going to have our crew transferred by the end of the week. We're abandoning ship Ty, and a Ty starts going after, like, you can't do this. You know, she's hurting. You know, the ship's just hurting. She's not dying. You're going to turn your back on her like a mothballed relic. I won't let you do it. And then I do literally like this where Adama says, you don't have to do that anymore. You don't have to act the part. You never let me down, Saul. I can't blame you for being what you are, since it includes being the best officer and best friend I've ever had. The ship never let us down, so we're going to send her off in style. And so I liked that little beat. And then there's a nice little, again, psychosexual moment where they sort of sit next to each other. And he says, old man, Ellen was right. It was me who's the old man, 2,000 years and counting. And I still got my teeth, as he shows Adama, all my teeth. So we're going to do this. She was a grand old lady, the grandest, to the Galactica, the best ship in the fleet, as they sort of toast the Galactica.
Clink. Oh.
Yeah. So I like the scene. It was cute.
It is cute. Just fuck already.
Yeah, I know. I just want them to fuck right there. They really need to. It really needs to happen. So,
like, honestly, I will say, like, look, I'll settle for them not fucking, but at the very least, after that drink, they should have stared lingeringly into each other's eyes, and you have them just, and then cut, and then cut to black, because at least then you're being cowardly and like an actual deliberate poking the bear way, as opposed to just being oblivious to what the fuck you've been doing.
Yeah, they just want to fuck. It's fine. Boomer then arrives at the colony with Cavill. And Cavill's all like, shame I couldn't see the look on Ellen's face when we realized we played her. But then Cavill takes Hera back there, and Hera starts asking for Boomer. Oh, Boomer, Boomer. And Cavill's like, you'll have all sorts of playmates soon, as Boomer sort of cries because she now feels it in the room.
Yep.
So there we go. We got that. She cares now because baby, or child, I guess, not baby, but child.
Yeah.
We see some shots
Oh,
of.
maternal instincts kicking in.
hmm We then see the crew transferring, but then the last scene of the episode is Starbuck going to see Sam. And she's talking to him. It's like the old me and dead and gone, same as the old you is dead and gone. It took me a long time to accept that. Why am I here? And I'll save us. I know this will be a one-sided conversation. I'll just tell you my theory. It has something to do with this music. The five that led us to Earth. There's a pattern that I can't see, but I think that you can. So we're gonna sit here in this room. We're gonna pick it apart until we figure it out. Talk to me, Sam. And so she turns Sam on, and he says, "New command." As we end out the episode.
Yep. And we've
So
got the piano version of
all along the Watchtower
All Along
playing.
the Watchtower going.
So that is the episode. What did you think of Vera?
It look, it's fine. Like
Yeah.
I don't like it because it reminds me of the shit that I'm already fed up with the show, or it's repeating beats that I'm fed up with or have lost their ability to affect me positively if they ever had it. But like as an episode, it's fine. It is a standard line everything up and get it ready for the finale kind of episode because for us to hit the finale, Cavill has to have Hera. The ship has to be about to fall apart. It's like this is just a moving the pieces and just setting it up so that everything can get knocked down to its final landing place in the two-part finale. It's doing its job. It's fine.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a bit more positive than you are. Like, it has some good character beats and stuff that I like. I like the Starbucks stuff. I like the Ender stuff, and I like the Thai stuff. Everything with six aside. Yeah. So I think I'm a bit more positive on it than you, but that's the story of this show.
Yes.
So so I think that's where we will leave this one as we head into the valley. Again, listeners, so if you want to finish off this misery train with the rest of us. We're finishing up Blood and Chrome next week, so hopefully maybe Vera will get a little relief. We'll see.
Maybe.
I
Hey.
can't, but knowing you can't get no relief. So, as they say,
There's too much
and
confusion.
yep, must be some kind of way out of here, Vera. But we'll find that in 2 weeks after that because we'll watch part one of Daybreak and then part two of Daybreak after that. So just that's the schedule for the next 3 weeks.
Okay.
Stuff time, Vera.
Stuff! You can find my stuff by looking for Council of Geeks. Patreon pays the bills and enables me to do this as my living. The main thing that funds is the Council of Geeks YouTube channel. I don't know what the most recent video to come out at the time that folks are hearing this, but I should have had out in this month already. Well, I will have had out a video on obsession and the discourse around it, and also a video about the right wing grift mill and the Odyssey, and specifically talking about that when I stopped and thought about it, I actually found it kind of odd that they ran into that wall as hard as they did. And I
Mm-hmm.
kind of wanted to dissect how that happened. So those are some videos that have gone on. I've got other stuff that I'm planning on, but it's far enough out that I might get rearranged. So we'll leave it at that. If you actually support me on my Patreon, you can actually see the docket of what I'm planning. Even if I don't always remember what it is here and or if I'm holding off on telling folks. So there's another reason to support me on Patreon. There is also the Council of Geeks break room where this podcast is hosted, as well as my thoughts on whatever I have watched, listened to, read, or played lately, including a review for Obsession, one for Spider-Man Brand New Day. I will have caught up on X-Men 97 and Game Changer by the time you hear this, I'm sure. And whatever else I have gotten around to. Also, Council of Geeks is also on some social medias. I don't really care. You can look for me if you feel like it. That's the geeky stuff. There's also the spicy stuff.
Also the spicy stuff.
So we've already talked about Jesse's kinks, but if you're more interested in mine, you can look for Vera Wild.
Well, if you want to see my pussy while she's talking, by the way.
Wild is spelled Wilde.
Oh.
And while I won't necessarily promise you goop or being plugged into machines, Although now I'm at least tempted to try to see if it can be one more way to lure Jesse. In addition
I already
to,
told you it
in
would get me to
addition
sign up.
to
I went Centauri porn.
the Centauri
Bella.
wig,
Mm-hmm.
you can look for Vera Wild, and you can find increasingly spicy content on YouTube,
YouTube.
TikTok. That was a lovely sound you made. I would be very interested
Mm-hmm.
to hear you make that sound involuntarily instead of
Mm-hmm.
mockingly.
Mm-hmm. Well, we'll see sometime. Speaking of, we were talking about my pussy. My cat, Kipo, is here.
Hi,
Hello,
Kipo.
Kipo buddy, as he licks my elbow. And now he's licking my elbow. I don't know what's so tasty about it, but maybe that's his kink. Anyways, you can find me at Jesse Gender on YouTube where I do video essay stuff. The Ferengi video the mythical Ferengi video was seen. It exists. It existed and blinked away, but one day it may return if you believe hard enough. So
The
check out that.
Ferengi video will return at Avengers Doomsday.
Yep, exactly. So the Frankie video will come out. My own obsession video, which is a little bit distinct from Vera's, touches upon some similar stuff. But we'll be looking at the chauvinistic response to people saying that it is misogynistic. Not the people who are saying that a bear wasn't the villain in the movie, but that the movie itself is misogynistic for showing women being brutalized. I know it's a take, but it is a take that I have seen.
That's
Oh yeah. There are people saying it's actually misogynistic, actually, and a terrible movie as a result of that. Not that Bear is not the villain. They're like, Bear is definitely the villain, and the movie actually kind of has more empathy for him than it should.
that is
And it is by, and I'm gonna say this. I want to be very clear. This is not a guy that I hate, but it's by YouTubers who I have respect for. Like one of these people who was arguing this point was Pop Culture Detective.
really
Yes, I had an argument with him about it.
that.
Yes, and I'm not calling him out. I'm not calling him out as a terrible person, but we had an argument about it where I'm like, he said that, and I was like, there's a lot of like queer and trans people and women who've like saw themselves in this movie and related to it. Maybe don't like kind of be like, oh yeah, this thing is misogynistic, just offhandedly. So yeah, it was a wild take. And I go into it because there's a few people that argue this. It's not just him. There's a few articles that I found that argue this point. So that's what the video is about.
That is, I'm sorry. I know we've now derailed the outro, but like that is an exceptionally wild take because like, look, it is absolutely possible to do a story like this where the man is definitely the bad guy and we're meant to root for the woman in whatever way that are misogynistic. Like I would argue most of like the exploitation era rape revenge movies are misogynistic, but that has to do with framing and a lot of the visual language.
I'm well aware.
And none of what I can think of applies to this movie.
I know.
Like
I dissect it.
The camera does the least sexualizing of the women in the movie of anything.
Yes, I will talk about it in my own video, but the comparison that I make is this movie and Ex Machina, which Ex Machina I hate because it is that movie. It's a very similar movie, just with an android instead of a android that's doing a Turing test rather than the one with Willow. But that movie sexualizes it, and it thinks it's being very deep about, like, isn't this guy actually kind of a chauvinist for like not seeing the interiority of this woman? But it sexualizes her at every chance and makes the fact that like she has interiority at the end of the movie a surprise, and then she becomes a slasher villain. So it's
I mean, I don't hate Ex Machina, but this is why I like Companion better.
Which
because
is the other movie I bring up in the video. Yes.
it takes the character's humanity as a given, as opposed to being all this, ooh, is she actually a person? Companion goes, no, she's a person.
Yeah.
Now
also,
what do we do with that?
When was the last time you watched Ex Machina?
I watched Ex Machina about a week ago because I pulled a ton of footage because I intend to do a video comparing it to Companion. So,
I have already written that video and will be coming out with my next video.
Well, see, this time you'll probably beat me to it because that's one I've been thinking about for a little while and I
Mm.
keep backburnering. So you might beat me to this one.
To be fair, my obsession video kind of compares the two, but I put a lot of it into another video. So it's in my obsession video. It'll be put in another video that'll be coming up, but that video will be slightly bigger because it'll be on artificial women generally speaking and how artificial women have been used in fiction
Yeah.
from the
Now,
very beginning.
like at this point in time, Ex Machina is a movie that I like but won't defend. It's kind of the same way that I feel about shit like 300. I
Mm.
like this, but I won't defend it.
Mm-hmm. See, mine is I don't like Ex Machina. You'll see
Which,
my
again, that's why I won't defend it. There are a lot of incredibly valid reasons to not like that movie.
yes. Anyways, watch my video obsession for the slightly different twist. That's why I'm like, I wouldn't have made an obsession video because everyone's made the fucking obsession video at this point. This is a slightly different one that I didn't see people talking about, and it was kind of frustrating me that no one was because it was like leftist folks for the most part being like, it's actually bad, and we're it's the true leftists, and it's mostly chauvinistic men. So saying that, anyways, the people who wanted to be treated like Joss Whedon before. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It kind of gives me that vibes. Anywho,
Male pick-me's.
yes. Anywho, so watch that video. It'll be coming out soon. The Frankie video will appear. Jesse Dinner After Dark, where I do news, reviews, reactions. I am doing reviews of Star Trek Strange New Worlds. I also have Starter Trek, which is on its own dedicated YouTube channel where I with Tawny Newsome of Lower Decks and Strange New Worlds and Starfleet Academy fame. We and her friend Andrew T watch episodes of Star Trek that Andrew has no context for. It's a really fun time. Check that out. I'm also on the Cast of Kings, which will be over by the time you hear this, but we'll probably have just released our overall wrap up of the House of the Dragon season 3 overall views on that season, not just the finale. So check that out. We also may be continuing that show with another show like Rings of Power or something, and we're debating because I've been enjoying talking to Kim on that show, so we may continue that for a little bit. So check that out. Subscribe over there. On Instagram and Blue Sky. I'm also on Nebula, which houses my movie identities, as well as the upcoming show Subliminal and Patreon that helps me pay my bills. Could really use your help over there if you could. Anything else, Avira?
Nah.
Alrighty. With all that said, I hope you all, my friends, live long and prosper.
Be seeing you.